it to be known that this sermon is in no way suggesting that those who are not married cannot experience the favor of God. The text is not suggesting that you don't obtain favor until you're married. Because there are some single saints in the house today who can testify that you don't have a mate, but you've got favor. You own your own home, drive your own car, it's in your name, it's in your name. 31 chapters of this book, Solomon gave his son 73 verses dedicated to warning him about folks who could be a date but never be a mate. I wish I had somebody. 73 verses on who or what not to choose. But then when he talks about finding a spouse, he only uses 5 verses. 73 things to avoid, 5 things to look for. Which means if you were to look at this text statistically and mathematically, there are more folks available for fun than there are for favor. I can't get no help in the house. You see, every Valentine's date is not qualified to be a mate. So you have to do some research and determine whether you want favor or you want a fun time friend for Friday night. Now, the verse says that the person that finds a spouse. Now, that word find is not the same word that we think in our language and our culture. It does not mean that you go out looking or you put yourself out there to be found. It is not the same as in our culture. It's not that you go out and buy yourself a new mini dress and parade through the mall on Saturday. Now, you know you ain't got no money, but you just want to see who sees you. Find. It's not the same word as in our culture. It does not mean that you go to level 2 to see who shows up single and searching. So you need to reach a point, saints of God, where you get so close to the Father that you let the Father find for you what you need. And then you trust the Father enough concerning your well-being that you trust who he shows you. Heaven, I can't get no help. As a matter of fact, if you're single, that ought to be even how you date. The person that the Father has for you can't be found in the club. What happened? What happened? The person that the Father has for you won't be found through the hookup of a friend. See, he knows not what you like, but what you need. Because everything that's good to you, y'all better help me preach in this house today. And since he's my Father, watch this, since he's my Father, I will not need you to tell me that he sent you. Oh, it's gonna get a little rough now. So don't get mad just because you told me that God sent you and I tell you I ain't heard that. Help me, Holy Ghost. You see, I'm close enough to my Father to know his voice. That's why it pays to grow spiritually so that you can recognize the voice of the Father when the Father is speaking to you, because another voice the child will not hear. You see, in the old days, don't get a little rough right through here, in the old days, you could not date somebody without meeting their parents first. Because mama and daddy wanted to know who their folks were, where they from, where they live, where they go to school, who their friends are. Don't get quiet on me now, y'all. See, the parents had to smoke you over and know something about you. See, the parents had to get acquainted with you before they gave you the green light to date their child. And it's got to be the same way today. Before you can date me, I got to make sure my Father is acquainted with you. That's why you got to come to church. And don't just come trying to please me or trying to impress me, but I got to see something in your life that lets me know you're trying to grow, that you're trying to do it God's way. Because if my daddy doesn't approve of you, you got to let the doorknob hit you. Hello, somebody. Tell your neighbor, I need a spiritual partner. Listen, I don't need a thug all tatted up with a grill in his mouth. I don't need some shorty who thinks she's fine just because she got junk in her trunk. I need somebody that the Father approves of.
You're in the house, Reverend. You're in the house.
And let me go ahead and help you. No, you can't turn me out. I'm too old for your whip appeal. You can't whoop me with what you working with. Show me something about the Lord. Show me you know how to pray. Show me you know how to fast. Show me you know how to talk to Jesus. Show me something. Can I tell you something else? If I know God sent you, and I know God put us together, then we don't have to live together to try it out.
You're all right, Reverend. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, somebody. Tell your neighbor, test drive cars